I'm not I don't play a lot of DC games or a lot of superhero games, like, hardly ever. So I came in with very little expectations and somehow I still was disappointed. Nice. Hello everyone, it's me and Aldous back with another video, and we're here to talk about the newly released game Gotham Knight, a game that I think people were originally excited for until people found out the game was only going to be 30 FPS for our next gen consoles, and a lot of people seem to have some doubts. But then the game actually came out, and it seems like that we were right to have some doubts. Now, I'm not gonna act like I'm some very professional gamer who knows everything about frames and specs or anything about the Arkham games that people really love, because I never really played them at all. But I did go into this game just trying to give it a fair chance because, you know, I didn't want to compare it, which is why I didn't really look into the other games anyways. So I couldn't really compare them anyways. So when it comes to just a Gotham Knight game or just a superhero basic game, it felt surprisingly underwhelming. You have a story, a world where the greatest superhero is now dead, and you have these, I guess, prodigies, or you got Red Hood, Nightwing, Robin, and Batgirl to take over his place to basically fill in the shoes and save the city now that Batman's dead, or supposedly dead. I'm not gonna say any spoilers, so I don't think so. I'm gonna be very vague on the story point. And you would think that there would be a lot to tell, a lot of missions, there'll be a lot to go on and to fight. And yeah, there are a lot of like side quests. There are some customizable that you can do. Every character does have like a special ability or special moves that differs from the other, which does add a lot of fun to it. The combat for me personally was fine for the most part, but I will admit I never really truly understood the importance of like 30 to 60 FPS until this game, because I guess it's just now the standard or what we expect. I mean, I think God of War Ragnarok is going to be at 120 FPS now. And for me, I've been playing a lot of my games on Xbox Series X. It is just most convenient for me. And it's also what I use for my game captured and everything. And yeah, I guess I never put in the time to realize that when it comes to a very action fight based game where there is a lot of movement, especially in an open world, what that really does for you. And to really emphasize that, I think Some Original Gamer or Mudamar really does emphasize the importance of the frame rates of Gotham Knight in his video where he talks about it, with his PC being very powerful and very strong, how the gameplay still felt very sluggish, how it felt very slow, or it felt like it was lagging, even at some of the more higher and more powerful settings of his PC, it still felt very slow. And the same thing even felt the same way for me, that there were times where I felt like I was lagging or the world just slowed down, and it really did have a lot to do with the 30 FPS. Now, do I think the entire game is a piece of shit because of that? No, I don't. There are a lot of people on Metacritic that are giving it 1 to 0 stars simply just on that alone, which I think it's ridiculous, because this game is not a 0 or a 1 or not even a 2. A game that really does deserve something like that would be Saint Rose. And I would take this game over Saint Rose any fucking day. So I think a lot of people are overreacting on it, but at the same time I do understand where the anger comes from, especially for the people, you know, especially because this game was $60, $70. Or if you bought the special additional pack to get the nice cool little figure, that's $200 you spent on this game, and you can't even go on full quality if you bought it on console. And even so, it's what the game asks you a lot for PC for 30 frames per second. Yeah, I can see why people would get upset. Especially when you have all the power of the PS5 and the Xbox Series X, and you can't make it run properly on 60 FPS. Not to mention that another issue, which is unfortunately the same thing that St. Rose suffered from, and the same thing I am fearing that Sonic Frontiers could suffer from, is the open world. It is empty. Next to St. Rose, it's been a long time since I've seen an open world as empty as this game. You're in a city that is supposed to be like Chicago or Detroit, where the streets are always filled and there's always something going on, whether it's events or just criminals walking around. You're in a city that has hardly any traffic. You have hardly any cars or hardly any people walking around. And because of the 30 frames per second, when you drive very fast on your motorcycle or bike, it really does slow everything down and sometimes just flat out lag, because it really can't. It's like this game cannot handle that, or that restriction, it just really can't handle that. And it really does make me wonder exactly, or really does answer why they had this locked in the first place. Really. Now, I personally didn't mind the characters overall. I think they did have good chemistry when it came to each other, but there were some cheesy dialogue, and the voice acting wasn't like terrible, but it also could have been a lot better. I'm trying to be very vague when it comes to the story itself, because I do not want to spoil it. But the story was over. It's fine. It's okay. It is, I think, an interesting avenue to go in, with a world where these heroes have to take over, basically step up after losing the best beloved hero of their universe, and to basically take everything that he has, what he has taught them and taught the world, and to carry that on for themselves, especially after all the things they personally went through. I think that could work. I think that could work in a game, and I think it could have worked in this game, but the frame rate and definitely the gameplay overall itself, because of that frame rate, really held that back. It is one of those things where the story could have been dismissed more so if the gameplay could make up for that, even, if the gameplay could have made up for that. But I do think where a lot of complaints and a lot of the gameplay will, I guess a lot of people would compare it to Arkham Knight, is with the gameplay itself, because I can't really say much on it because I never played the Arkham games before, but I do know the specifics and the details when it came into combat and the different ways you would have to fight the enemies, because of the styles of the enemies being vastly different from another. A gameplay technique for superhero games that has been done very well in the Arkham games, that have since been advanced and twisted and used differently in other games. But in Gotham Knight, it doesn't. All the enemies are pretty much the same, with big shields and not much variety. You really can't play it as skillful as you could the Arkham games, or at least that's what I've heard people say when it comes to the other Arkham games, or for what I've seen from the Arkham games. If you're expecting gameplay like that, you're going to be severely disappointed, because it is not that at all. And I think that with the open, dead, empty world, yeah, it really is something. I think the only thing that really carried the game, that really does carry the game, is the story. And even as I said, it's not terrible, but it's not also a masterpiece. It's just very okay, which normally wouldn't be a problem unless, as long as the gameplay was fine. So overall, the game is, I would give it at most a 6.5, 6 out of 10. It is average. I don't think it's terrible. I don't think it's a big garbage mess field like a lot of people are making it out. But I do get where the 30 frames per seconds really do hold the game back in a lot of ways. And the open world, it is just very dead. And the gameplay itself isn't anything too special, which, along with everything else, it just makes the game feel underwhelming. So, but I don't think it's as bad as a lot of other people are saying it is. This game does not deserve a 1 to a 4. The game is definitely better than that. 5, 6.5 is, I think, the perfect range of where this game is at. And it seems like a lot of people, I mean, a lot of it's from the negative critic review bombs, but the game right now is currently at a 5.0 at the time of recording this, which probably could go lower or higher. I think the like 5 is, like I said, 5, 6.5, it's appropriate for this game. If you compare it to an Arkham game, you're really going to be disappointed. But if you're someone like me who goes in not knowing anything, you definitely will have more fun with it. Or you can have more fun with it because you have nothing to compare it to. But the open world is what's going to drag you down. And the 30 FPS will definitely also slow things down for you. Because that's really what slows this game down. So, yeah, definitely not as good as I thought the game was going to be. I didn't think I was going to love it, but I did not think it would be so underwhelming. But I've been surprised before, so I guess the next game I really got to be excited for is Sonic Frontiers, and I'm really hoping that they pull something out of its ass, because we've been getting a lot of disappointers this year. But we'll see. As always, leave a like, subscribe if you haven't already. I post videos as often as I can. I didn't know if this video was going to be more of a rant, review, or just personal thoughts, but whatever it is, I don't know. I'm hoping I hope I was able to get just some insight. So leave a like, subscribe if you haven't already. I post videos as often as I can. And I am just generally surprised how underwhelming this game was, because I thought it was going to be so much more, especially from the first trailer, which did an amazing job of telling this story, or making it look so much better than what it turned out to be. So I'm crossing my fingers that Sonic Frontiers is much better than that, because there's been quite a few disappointer games this year. Really, so. Because we'll see. And as always, till next time, bye-bye!